What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We're back at it with more Run 8 gameplay, and today we're going to be moving a rock train on the Fitzgerald sub. We got the brand new mixed freight car pack 4 with some beautiful rock hoppers on it. We've got the CSX hoppers right now. We got the plain black ones and then the gray ones. These are like the Raceland rebuilds that they did back in the mid 90s. They took coal hoppers, like 4-bay coal hoppers, and they cut them down. It seems like they completely rebodied them. But these are definitely like the Raceland cars that they did. So yeah, we've got 70 of them. We're about between 8,000 and 9,000 tons, I think. So this is a pretty good train. We're up at Martin Marietta on a Fitzgerald sub, just south of Talbotton. This is a really steep grade down in here. It's decent. It's good enough. Like, it's not like no 3% grade, but it's steep enough to be a problem. So that's going to be an issue. The train's going to be the K781. In fact, let's do that real fast. Let's do K781. K781, 18. There we go. All right, we're good on that. It was a Martin Marietta to, I think, Chattahoochee, Florida, somewhere down there. So basically the thing about this job is the fact that it's a northward facing switch. So we're going to have to go to Talbotton, run around our train, and then head back south. So that's what this job is going to involve. Rock trains are always kind of a pain. Like, they really just were. They're kind of a pain. All right, I think we're good on this. We've got our power down there. This is 2-9s and a SD42. It's a BN unit. We're going to say it's a lease unit, like a HLMX. We used to call them Rent-A-Wrecks back in the day. There were tons of them. Back in the early 2000s, it's just a large majority. Everything was Rent-A-Wrecks. But that's what we got for our power today. All right, let's go ahead and throw this thing in reverse. And we have to be really careful on this stub end track right here. It's about 0.3 or 0.4% down that way. So you will run off the track really super easy. And I can tell you right now, these cross ties aren't going to do jack to stop 3 locomotives. Like, they're just going to go right through it and rip it all out. Let's double check our switches here. Let's get these lined up. There we go. We got that one. Oops. Let's get back up above the ground. Would help, Spur. And I think we need to get... Okay, yeah, that one's good there. All right. Kind of like a derail in a way. It's got you lined off. All right, so we got it in reverse. Let's go ahead and give it a little power before we start moving, because I don't want this thing to roll back on us. All right, Independence coming off. She should start moving. Oh, well, we got to release handbrakes. That would be great. Do that. Now she'll move. Back out of the power just a little bit. So yeah, it's pretty steep. Right here, you see it slowing down pretty quick as soon as we come out of the power. And the grade tops, like right up here, like right just a little bit past this switch right here is where the grade tops. And I want to say it's 0.4 down in there a little bit. It may be a little bit steeper on inside. Get down here to our train. There we go. All right, let's watch his speed. Let's get on the ground. So yeah, the rock jobs. I never did these in real life. We didn't have anything to do with them back in the day. At least I don't think we did. I never did. I worked some rock trains like this up on the Manchester sub out of like around Tyrone, Georgia, and Peachtree City. They're more ballast trains. Like, we loaded a lot of ballast up there at those. All right, anytime now, dude. Are you headed down here or what? I hope so. There he is. All right, we've gotten over the grades. So basically what we're going to do, this train is, everything's laced and ready to go. It's got 12 handbrakes on it, so we're going to couple up. We're going to charge the train, and then we got to get a brake test. We're going to kind of go through this like we would in real life. Like, we'll go through, we'll set the brakes up, we'll walk the train, we'll make sure it's got brakes, and we'll release them. make sure everything is released and good to go, and then we can pull out of here. At least I hope that's how it's going to work out. We'll see. All right, let's get slowed down just a little bit here. All right, a little bit more. A little bit more. All right, that should be good about right here. Nice, let's go full independent. Sweet, we'll lace the air hoses. All right, so we'll grab the coupler, we'll do connect. This one should be open. Yes, it's open, it's good to go. We'll do this partial so we don't dump the air. We don't want to dump it. Of course, you see the CFM go way up. Now it's starting to come back down, so it's starting to charge. And we'll just let it do that for a bit. Now, if you look at the train, you know, they built this train with the switch engine that they have in here, whatever company switch engine that they used. They set it up here on air, and then when they bust the air to apply the brakes, right? Well, now that we're coupled up and charging the train, the brakes have released. So it's, you know, you got to make sure you got your handbrakes on. We've got 12. It may roll a little bit on us. We've got 12. It's 70 cars between 8 and 9,000 tons. That should be good enough. All right, you see the brakes completely released on it. CFM's come down. Let's go ahead and open it the rest of the way. There we go. So now what we're going to do is just let it charge up. I want to charge up really good. And she's wanting to roll on us just a little bit. Sound like she was. Maybe not. I thought I heard her rolling a little bit. So yeah, we'll let her charge up, and we'll draw them down really tight, and we'll do a brake check. So we'll test the brakes. All right, let's go ahead and we'll put the we'll center the reverser and put it in number 4 to help kind of charge it up a little bit. Gives supposedly it gives the compressor higher RPMs. Like I said, I wasn't an engineer. I don't remember what they did as far as pumping the air up, but supposedly you can center reverser and give it like notch 2 or notch 4. It'll give the compressor higher RPMs and it'll pump it up a little faster, but we'll see. I want the flow. I want the CFM to get down to about 60 before we do anything else. So we're just going to have to hang tight for a bit. So while we wait on that, I'll tell you guys a little story about a rock train that I worked. One of my biggest goof ups on the railroad, I think, ever. And they always told us, said, you're not railroading if you don't tear something up, right? You're not railroading if you don't. So I was tasked with picking up a ballast train. It was almost this exact same scenario. Northward facing switch, or yeah, I think it was. But either way, I guess that's kind of irrelevant. But it was just me and an engineer. I didn't even have a brakeman on that one. Sometimes we had a brakeman, sometimes we didn't. But we had to pick up 50 cars of ballast out from under this loader that is really super steep down in there. When we got there, we had 2 C30-7s. We had an old Conrail unit and we had a CSX unit. I go down in there and I count the cars up, and we had like 52. We had 52 instead of 50. We were supposed to have 50 on the work order, so we had 2 extra cars. So what I did is I cut those cars off. They had a little storage track there just ahead of where our train was at, and there were 3 cars sitting in it. They all had handbrakes. So I took the 2 cars, we pulled past the storage track, and then I had the engineer, I lined them into it, and I had them shove in there. And pardon me. When we got against the cars, and this is where I messed up. I totally messed up, and I hadn't been working long when this happened, so I totally messed up when we did this. We got against the cars, and instead of stopping and stretching them and making sure that they were coupled good, I just told the engineer, we got against him. I said, keep shoving, 2 more in the clear. So we got against the cars. He kept shoving, and we shoved them in the clear. And I said, all right, that'll do. And as soon as the engine RPMs came down, I heard this squealing noise behind me, because I'm looking at the engines, right? And I hear this squealing noise behind me, and it's like, And I turn around and look, and the 3 cars that were originally sitting in the storage track were now rolling out the bottom of the storage track. Like, the pin didn't drop. They didn't couple. So basically we just shoved them, or kind of kicked them a little bit. So they roll out of the storage track, they roll through the switch. We got through the switch, and they roll down there, and they couple up to our train that was sitting there. They weren't rolling very fast, just a few mile an hour, but I tried to catch them. I couldn't catch them. They definitely were rolling fast enough where I couldn't catch them. So by the time I realized what had happened. So anyway, my engineer's freaking out. He was brand new too. I want to say this was his first trip marked up as an engineer solo. It was like the blind leading the blind, right? And he gets down and he comes back there. I told him, I didn't even tell him on the radio. I just said, we got a problem. I need you to come back here for a second. So we came back there. I was like, yeah, these cars rolled out. I said they had handbrakes on them, but they rolled out anyway, even with the handbrakes, because it was so dang steep down in there. And we got through the switch. Well, luckily, like one of the first things I was taught when I hired out by an old head was that you could take the cover off the top of this switch, and there would be some shims down inside there, and you could basically re-shim the switch, right? So I threw it back and I got it re-shimmed, and honestly I think it threw better after we got through it and shimmed it than it did before. But we didn't tell a word, we didn't tell a soul after that trip. That was like, man, about 21 years ago, I guess that happened. So, yeah, that was probably my biggest goof up on the railroad. No one ever knew. It was just me and the engineer were the only ones that knew about that. All right, our air's pumped up pretty good here. I think we're good. What we're going to do is draw it down. We're going to draw it down to 70. We're going to draw 20 off. Just a little bit more here. There we go. We can come out of the throttle too. We don't need that anymore. All right, so we drew the air down. Basically what we're going to do is just make sure all the brakes apply on this train. So we're going to check it and make sure the brakes are applied. Then we'll get to the bottom. We're going to have them knock them back off, walk back up, and make sure that they're all released, and we'll be good to go. Then you'll have to draw them back down. We'll draw them back down before we leave, knock the handbrakes off, and then we can get out of here. So like I said, it's a little bit of a process. It's some work for the conductor on these trains. All right, we should be set. So if you click on the car, you'll see it says B cylinder, brake cylinder, and you'll see it's filled up about 2/3 of the way. Something like that, give or take. I kind of use this like the visual of the piston travel. Like when the brake's applied, the piston comes out, and that's what you look for, right? So I kind of use this as the visual for the piston travel, because of course in real life, you wouldn't have a clue what was in the cylinder. Like you would have no idea, but just by looking at it, we know the brakes are applied. So at that point, you would just walk down the entire train and you would make sure that all the pistons are out, that the brakes are applied, that there's no defects, no problems, nothing tore up, nothing hanging off, anything like that. It should have 12 handbrakes. So once we get past the 12, then you'll kind of, you might grab the handbrake chain or just kind of look at it and make sure it's got slack in it, so you won't have a handbrake tied on like somewhere in the middle of your train. That wouldn't be good. So you check that as well too. Like I said, this is the basics, the very basics of it. He's looking good so far. I don't ever remember having a rock train where we had a problem with the application. It was always a release. Like you always had stuck brakes, especially on the ballast trains. The ballast trains, the company ballast hoppers are always junk, right? They're all the time sticking and having problems. All right, so far so good. We'll keep going. Luckily, it is a rock train, so it's not too terribly long. I think it's probably about 4,000, maybe 4,500 feet long, something like that. We'll look at it in a minute and see. Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, I think they're all applied. I don't know if I've ever had a car in Run 8 where the brakes didn't apply. Like I said, it was always the knocking off part. And sometimes you'd have a car with stuck brakes. I'm trying to remember what we do. Like sometimes we dump the air and see if that might free it up. I think maybe bleed it. Maybe we would bleed it to see if that would free it up. And then if that didn't do it, then sometimes you just have to cut the car out and just bleed it completely. Cut the brakes out. All right, we're coming up to the bottom. So far, so good. Yeah, like I said, we're using the B cylinder bar here as a visual that for our brake cylinder piston. Our piston travel there. Yeah, they're all applied. We're good on this. So once we're down at the bottom, we'll go ahead. We'll put an EOT on it. I don't think it has one. Nice cars, though. They look really, really good. And we've needed these for a long time. We needed these with the rock trains. All right, let's go ahead and hang an EOT. We'll do attach EOT. We'll open it up. It sounds like it's a battery operated one. No, it's not air turbine, it's battery. All right, and at this point, you'd also do a dump test. I don't think you can do that in game, though. I don't think you can effectively do a dump test. I could be wrong, but so. Now that we've done that, everything looks good, right? So now we'll have the engineer knock them off. Right, they're coming up. And if you watch, you'll see the brake cylinder start to go back in, right? It's starting to release, so it's going in. And the piston travel was supposed to be a certain amount. I think it was like the equivalent to a dollar bill, however many inches that is. I can't remember. It's been 20 years, so we won't worry about it. We're just going to make sure that they apply and that they release. So yeah, the brake, it's off. Yeah, brake cylinder's all the way in. So basically at that point, you would walk all the way back up, usually on the other side is what I used to like to do. And you would make sure that the all the brakes are knocked off. This is where you would run into problems. Absolutely. With these cars, you would absolutely run into problems with stuck brakes, maybe having a car that doesn't want to release or something like that. All right, so we're pretty much good to go. We're at the last few cars here. Last handful. Everything seems to be good. I haven't found one that's stuck. We know we don't have any other handbrakes. We got the 12 on the head end. Sweet, yeah. All right, we're good to go. Everything's looking good. Let's hop in and we'll check our EOT. What we got on the bottom? 81 on the bottom. That's good. All right, so yeah. So now at this point, what we would do? Let's hop off. And I think what we're going to do is just basically draw them down tight once again, and we'll knock the handbrakes off. Like I say, we're on a steep enough hill here. Like it's definitely, with all these rock cars, it's steep enough. 0.4 is more than enough to have a bad day. So we'll draw them back down, get in tight, and once they apply, we'll go through and we'll knock all the handbrakes off, and then we should be good to go. We should be ready to blast off. All right, brakes are drawn down nice and tight. Let's go ahead and knock off all these handbrakes. Should be 12. So you can count them, and then when you get to your first car that's released, right, that doesn't have a handbrake on it, and you go 2 or 3 more, something like that. Just to double check. All right, that one's released, so we're good on that one, and that one's released, and we'll do one more for good measure. All right, so yeah, we got all our handbrakes knocked off, so the air is just holding the train right here. Let's hop back in the cab. And we'll get rid of that. Now, I think what I want to do is to push on them just a little bit. I want to push on it just a little bit, because sometimes when a train spawns in, it's like stretched really super tight. So we're still hanging on to the big brake, right? We haven't released it. Go ahead and bail this off the rest of the way. And we'll push on it just a little bit and it should straighten itself out. That's what I like to do, especially right here. All right, is that good? Yeah, all right, that's good. Go ahead and release some rest away. You see, she's already kind of rolling back on us just a little bit here. Give her a little throttle. All right, that should be good right here. Okay, sweet. Let's go ahead and reapply the independent. Nice, good on that. So at this point, it's time to blast off, right? It's time to get out of here. And it's not going to be easy. Let's go ahead and put the reverser in forward. Let's get our sand going. Like I said, it's a 0.4% grade. It's showing 0.3, but I think it's actually like a 0.4. It's just 3 right here. It may be even a little steeper than that down towards the bottom of the train. But let's go ahead and get in the throttle. We're going to go up to number 4. And we'll release them. And then slowly coming out of the independent here. Alright, she just grabbed that slack back out. Alright, we just got to kind of work with it a little bit here. As the brakes release. Alright, come on. You know you won't do it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, move. You gotta move, come on. There we go, now she's starting to move on us. If we get that bottom rolling, we'll be set. Alright, she's down below 60 CFM, so we should start having some luck with it here. There we go. There we go. Now, alright. Keep at it just a little bit here. We're watching the ground because I want to see exactly what she's doing, right? I want to see exactly how much we're moving. Yeah, she's still needing a little bit. Now the problem is up here at the main. There we go. Now the bottom's moving. Okay, good. Yeah, she's still struggling a little bit here. All right, let's see what 5 does for us. So next thing, we're doing this just a conductor and an engineer, right? Like I said, sometimes we have brakemen, sometimes not. I don't know why. It's a railroad, but have to get up here to the main line and get this switch. So when we get up there, we'll have to stop, we'll have to hop off, go down and get the switch. You could open it up beforehand, maybe. The dispatcher would let you. We're not going to fool with auto. All right, we're moving good. See what she does it for. Nice. All right, we're good to go. Of course, we were in the red in our amps. I can tell you right now, and all the trains that I took back in the early 2000s that I can remember working, we never ever even thought about short time ratings. It was never even something. It was never on our mind. We just went with it. If we had stopped and told the engineer that we got to cool our, or stopped and told the dispatcher that we got to cool our traction motors because we exceeded short time ratings, he would have laughed at us. Like, he totally would have. So yeah, she's still struggling a little bit, but we're doing it. We're living the dream. We're making it happen, guys. We're railroading. We'll get up here and we'll stop. We'll get this switch and then we'll pull out. And then we'll have the engineer back up and pick us up, because I know, you know, as a conductor, you would know certain spots where you can make a reverse move and not have to walk the train. So this would definitely be a spot where we could do that. Let's see. Yeah, we got to get the switch up here as well, too. All right, draw them back down. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and we're going to bail this off the rest of the way, and then we'll set up the independent. There we go. All right, so let's hop off and we'll grab the switch. And get this one right here. Like I said, we could have technically walked up here and gotten it. You know, I mean, this depends. If there was a brakeman with us, absolutely, the brakeman could go up there and get the switch, and you wouldn't have to stop. You just roll right through. All right, so switches are aligned. We got permission to come out on the main. Let's go ahead and we'll open the throttle. I think we're probably going to have a harder time starting right here than we did. We still got sand. Just independent a little bit here. All right, we're moving. Well, we were. As the brakes release, like I said, we'll have easier time with it. We're just kind of working it a little bit here. All right, she should start moving pretty good for us here. We just don't want it to roll back on us. We should kind of be over the grade right here. At least the crest of it. Like I said, we're still hanging out on it. Like, a majority of our train's still hanging out on the grade, but... There we go. Now we're good. She still want to slow up on us a little bit. Nice. All right. See what that's going to do for us. All right. I think we're in business now, guys. We can go ahead and get out of here. So we'll basically run up here to the switch. As a conductor, I would hop off to get the switches back when we're done, right? And then we would just shove back and pick me up. Like I said, sometimes you could do that, sometimes not. It depends on if there's any road crossings. Like, you don't want to shove across a road crossing, you know. But, you know, if you're clear of everything and it's not going to be a problem, you could call up and talk to the dispatcher and get permission to make a reverse move. And then that way you could swing up and you wouldn't have to walk the whole train. I remember doing that with a defect detector. Definitely, I remember that one for sure. I know I did it on other jobs too, but we had a pretty good size piggyback train. We got popped by a defect detector and it was a false alarm. It wasn't a thing, but the engineer called the dispatcher and got permission to shove back and pick me up because we weren't going to get across any road crossings or anything like that. Yeah, so we'll just we'll ease out of here and do the rest of that stuff, and then we'll head north, and then we have to run around our train. This is basically what this video is going to be about, is just getting this thing set up and ready to go. Okay, there we go. All right, let's hop off. And you know what? We're going to walk down here. We need to watch our speed. 10-mile-an-hour track. I'm going to call it 10. And we'll say it's 10-mile-an-hour track. There, now we can kind of see a little better. Look at our train stats real quick while we pull by. 1.3 HPT, not bad. 8,995 tons, 70 loads, 0 empties. 3,125 feet. I was thinking it was going to be about 4,000, but I was way off on that. All right, come on out, because we know going this way, now that we've pulled over the crest right down there, kind of in the distance, going this way is a 1% grade downhill. So we're gonna have to be aware of that pulling out of this this industrial spur, right? We don't want to get going too fast. I know people ask me all the time about the switch and freight car sounds. These were sent to me by a friend. I don't know where they came from, who did them. I don't know anything about it other than that they sound great. I wish I could tell you guys. Maybe I could do a little research and find out, but I don't know. All right, so yeah, we're just going to keep pulling. We're just going to keep watching them by. We'll probably have to set up dynamics, you know, because we're still kind of draped over the grade down there, so it's not getting away from us too fast, but she will in a minute. There we go. Yeah, I think we just did. Go ahead and set up the dynamics. Do a little light dynamic here. She's starting to pick up pretty good. Yes, these are extended range dynamics, right? Like sometimes they cut out. They'll cut out on you at a certain speed and they're not very effective. Some of them are. The Dash 9s were really good. The AC 4400s were excellent. Man, you could use those things all the way to a complete stop. Like they were really, really good. I always said it felt like they're going to try to stand you on your nose, like stand the train on its nose, because they were so good at stopping. And then you would have others where it felt like the dynamics weren't doing anything at all. Like it's like, are these things even working? Or all right, it looks like the bottom coming around right there. Maybe. Yeah, there's the bottom coming up. All right, so engineer could count it off. Like we know how long the train is. You could count it off with a counter. He would know he's getting pretty close. Nice. All right, she's slowing up on us pretty good too. So we're doing good. We're doing good. We don't want her to run away on us, you know, out of this sidetrack here. Sweet, last car. All right, let's go ahead and draw them down, get some air. That should be good about right here. K, what was it, 781? I can't remember my own train. Either way, we'll get our switch. We'll have to go up here and get this one as well, too. Nice. All right. Switches are lined. So we talked to a dispatcher. He gave us permission to make a reverse move, right? Kind of watch this crossing a little bit. All right. Let's go ahead and... Oh, yeah. She's still in dynamic. Let's come out of that. There we go. All right. Now we can reverse it. Oh, I guess we're still in it. Now we can. Never mind. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and give her a little power because this is going to be another bad spot right here. Knock the brakes off. Release independent, and we can start shoving back. So he's going to shove back to pick us up. Like I said, he's going to hit the counter again and count it off coming back to us. Plus, he would know, you know, where the crossing is at too when he's getting close to it. And once again, this time we're on kind of a 1% grade, maybe a little less. So we're basically just going to have to kind of work with it a little bit. There we go. Now she's moving. Nice. It's one thing I miss in the game, like when you had really heavy cars like this and they're just starting to move, they're kind of making that that creaking noise, you know. It's not like a squeaky creaking noise, but it's like a metal on metal kind of. I don't know. I can't explain it. All right, she's moving pretty good. All right, so we'll shove by and he'll stop and pick me up and then we can go. I think maximum speed for reverse move on the main line was what, 25, something like that, maybe. Like I said, it's been years. It's been a long time. I try to remember this stuff as best I can. Yeah, I try to remember as best I can. They don't always come back easy. There, let's give her a little bit more throttle. And stand here on the engineer side so you can see us as well too. Like I said, these trains were a lot of work. They really were, especially if you were by yourself. Like I said, sometimes we, at least on the ballast trains, sometimes we would have a brakeman, sometimes not. And I don't remember like what the reasoning behind it was. Now I want to say, going back that way is downhill too. I think maybe it's kind of like the top of the grade right in here somewhere. We'll see. We'll kind of watch it a little bit, see what it does. Yeah, those hoppers look really nice. They're such a nice addition to the game, especially for the CSX rock trains. And I don't know why, you know, we're talking earlier, these are basically like the Raceland rebuilds that they did, the CSX did themselves. They're both rebuilds out of Raceland, but at some point they changed the body style, and I don't know why exactly they did that, because they were all built out of 4-bay coal hoppers. They were just cut down and rebodied, but I don't know, I don't know why they changed up the style on them. But one of these cars, whichever one it is, one of them would be like the first part of the rebuild that they did, and then the body style would change in the later rebuilds. All right, I think we're starting to get over that grade. No, I guess not. Maybe I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong. I can't remember. Slack running out on us. Basically what we'll do is we'll take this train up to Talbotton, we'll run around it, and then we'll head south a little bit, and then we'll call it. Like, we won't go too far with it. This is more about getting the train ready, you know, going through the process of getting the train ready to go. And we could hop in the cab. We could kind of show you the engineer's perspective here. This is what he'd be looking at. Looks like we're getting pretty close to it. Yeah, we are. So we'll try to stop on this crossing right here. We'll get our conductor and then we'll be good to go. I don't see a lot of people doing this like in game because, you know, you can fly around and you can teleport and all that stuff. There's really no need to, but this is like, if you want to do this the way it was in real life, this is kind of the way it would be. Like I said, this is, well, actually it's exactly the way it would be. Like it wouldn't be much different than this. There, come on out. And we'll get ready to stop right here. All right, let's grab some air. Sweet. All right, we'll come out the rest of the way. All right, there we go. So at this point, our conductor would swing up and we'd be ready to blast off to the north to run around our train. So we'll see about doing that now.